Liam Byrne was born on the 30th of October 1980, and it's fair to say that organised crime is in his blood. He managed to make it to the very top of the cartel heap, before it all came crashing down while he was on holiday. Welcome back to Crime Chronicles. Stay tuned as we look at the rise and fall of Irish crime boss Liam Byrne. Liam Byrne rose to the top of Ireland's underworld, relying heavily on personal connections, as he became an integral part of the Kinahan Cartel. Feared mobster Byrne, originally from the South Dublin suburb of Crumlin, whose brother David was shot dead in the Regency Hotel attack, became a trusted arm of the Kinahan Cartel as it became a global player in organised crime over the past 2 decades. His father, James Jaws Byrne, had links to Martin the General Cahill, who was involved in organised crime for decades. Jaws was known for being involved in fraud and counterfeiting, and was targeted by the Criminal Assets Bureau and Inland Revenue over 20 years ago, agreeing to pay out hundreds of thousands in settlements. There's no indication that Liam Byrne's mother Sadie is directly involved in crime, but the CAB said in court documents that she was knowingly reliant on her son's criminality for income. 3 of Sadie's nephews, Fat Freddie Thompson, Liam Brannigan, and Liam Rowe, have strong links to the most senior organised crime groups in Dublin. It seems that Liam Byrne's family tree is loaded with organised crime figures. Liam Byrne would rely on his connections with them as he rose up through the criminal ranks. From an early age, Irish police were describing Liam Byrne in court as a hardened career criminal and a key figure in the drug trade in South Dublin. In his early teens, he was dealing drugs with other young criminals and being supplied by Christy Kinahan Sr., who was basing himself between Ireland and the UK at the time. Byrne and his crew eventually had to get their supply elsewhere after Kinahan was jailed in the 1990s. The gang included many people who would go on to be involved in the Crumlin-Drimnagh feud. Liam was handed down a 4-year suspended sentence in January of 2000 after being convicted of firearms, burglary, and dangerous driving charges related to an armed robbery he committed at the age of 19. Despite being bound to keep the peace as a condition of his suspended sentence, less than 4 months later in April of 2000, he was involved in a vicious baseball bat attack on former League of Ireland soccer player Trevor Donnelly, outside a fast food shop in Crumlin in the early hours of the morning. Donnelly and his partner had been at the Abracababra after a night out, when 3 drunk women came in and started mouthing off at them. The women attacked the couple before they managed to leave, but one of the women had called Byrne, who arrived within minutes and savagely attacked Donnelly with a bat, continuing to beat him when he was on the ground. After the unprovoked attack, he said to Mr. Donnelly's girlfriend Jennifer Doyle, "Tell him if he wakes up, it's bullets." Byrne was sentenced to 4 years for the attack, but this was later increased to 6 years following an undue leniency appeal. Byrne's time in jail did nothing to stop his rise through the ranks of the criminal underworld. While he was inside, many of his associates were heavily involved in the Crumlin-Drimnagh feud, led on one side by Byrne's cousin Fat Freddie Thompson and the other side by Brian Rattigan. Fat Freddie Thompson was not the only one with personal connections to Liam Byrne to form part of his criminal network. His cousin Liam Rowe was also present when David Byrne was shot dead at the Regency. Another cousin, Ian Scarface O'Connor, has multiple previous convictions and was targeted by the CAB. Richie Thompson, who is a brother of Freddie and Liam Brannigan, is serving an 8-year sentence for conspiring to kill Gary Hanley as part of the feud. Liam Byrne's brother-in-law, Anthony McEnroe, who has drug dealing convictions, was described in court as being a trusted member of the Byrne organised crime group. By the time Liam Byrne was released from prison in the mid-2000s, Christy Kinahan had moved to Spain and become a bigger player in the international drug scene. Liam also moved to the Costa del Sol as he organised drugs and weapons shipments to Ireland from his Spanish base, working in conjunction with Christy Kinahan and other criminal associates. Byrne was suspected of being behind a consignment of 2 RPG-22 rocket launchers, 9 kilograms of cocaine, and an AK-47 machine gun, discovered by police in Kildare in 2010. Byrne's associate Jonathan Rocketman Harding, who is currently locked up for weapons and money laundering offences, was arrested in connection with that haul, but later released without charge. Byrne returned to Ireland after Spanish authorities targeted the Kinahan Cartel on the Costa del Sol over a decade ago, but he continued to spend most of his time abroad. In March of 2012, Byrne, Liam Rowe, and their close associate Sean McGovern, who was injured in the Regency Hotel attack, were arrested in Liverpool. They were questioned about making death threats, blackmail, and possession of housebreaking implements. They were never charged in that case, and Byrne has not been convicted of any serious offences since being locked up back in the 2000s. But he has remained on the police's radar over the years, constantly being monitored, stopped, and questioned. After the Kinahan-Hutch feud broke out, and he was targeted by the Criminal Assets Bureau, Byrne left Ireland and based himself in the UK. He moved to the Tamworth area, close to his brother-in-law Thomas Bomber Kavanagh. Bomber was handed down a 21-year sentence in 2022 for organising drug shipments into the UK through a complex import and export operation that used modified machinery to hide drugs and cash from customs and police. Byrne is understood to have left his Tamworth base after Kavanagh's downfall and has spent most of his time in Dubai until recently. Liam and the Byrne organised crime group continued the Kinahan Cartel business in the UK and Ireland after the senior Kinahan family members relocated to Dubai. The Kinahans were under increasing pressure in their homeland, and as there is no extradition treaty between the Irish Republic and Dubai, it made sense to relocate. Byrne would make a serious misstep when he was arrested in June of 2023 while eating at a restaurant in the Al Sudia area of Mallorca. He had flown into Palma Airport from Dubai on May 26th for a holiday. The National Crime Agency's intelligence-led investigation was supported by the Spanish National Police and Irish authorities, and Spain wouldn't offer the same extradition-free protection as Dubai. His arrest came after officers obtained warrants linked to incriminating messages discovered on EncroChat. The NCA stated that the messages indicated that Byrne was potentially involved in the supply and acquisition of firearms. Craig Turner, Deputy Director of Investigations at the National Crime Agency, said the arrest and extradition of Liam Byrne highlights the NCA's ongoing work to target the alleged criminal activities of the Kinahan and Byrne organised crime groups. If convicted, Byrne faces up to 5 years in prison for each of the firearms possession charges alone. He would also face up to 10 years for conspiring to possess an automatic weapon, while charges of conspiring to sell or transfer weapons also carry a maximum penalty of life imprisonment. After initial court appearances in the early months of 2024, a trial date has now been set for September, with the case expected to last up to 6 weeks. The walls continue to close in on everyone associated with the Kinahan and Byrne organised crime groups, and Liam Byrne's arrest, extradition, and court case go to show that the international law enforcement organisations will not stop until all of the key figures are behind bars. Thank you for joining us today on Crime Chronicles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends.